From the National Newsroom of the Canadian Press, I'm Rob Westgate. Prime Minister Mark Carney is expected to make an announcement in the Greater Toronto Area later this morning about Canada's strategic sectors.
The announcement comes after Carney met with his cabinet to prepare for the return of Parliament on September 15th. Discussions included fast-tracking large projects and providing help to sectors suffering under heavy U.S. tariffs. Industry Minister Melanie Joly says the federal government will be making announcements in the coming days on help for sectors that have been hurt the most by tariffs. Joly says Ottawa is looking for ways to help companies retool so that they can supply other industries. For example, helping steelmakers pivot away from U.S. automakers and toward products for the domestic construction and defense industries. Naira Ahmed, The Canadian Press.
Statistics Canada is set to release its latest reading of the country's job market for August this morning.
A poll of economists heading into the release shows they're expecting a gain of 10,000 jobs and for the unemployment rate to rise to 7% for August. The July jobs report showed a loss of 41,000 jobs and an unemployment rate of 6.9%. StatCan reported last week the economy contracted in the second quarter as U.S. tariffs and trade uncertainty tanked Canadian exports. The jobs report comes ahead of the Bank of Canada's next interest rate decision set for September 17th. Michelle Sadikian, The Canadian Press.
Canada is hosting U.S. House Speaker Mike Johnson and other officials from G7 countries and Ukraine in the Ottawa area today. Speaker of the House of Commons Francis Scarpellegia will be in meetings with his counterparts until Saturday as part of Canada's G7 presidency. The meetings involve working sessions on themes like online disinformation, fostering respectful debate in a climate of political polarization, and violence against lawmakers. The first meeting of the speakers of the lower houses of the G7 was hosted by Canada back in 2002. On the international stage now, Russian President Vladimir Putin is insisting that any foreign troops deployed to Ukraine before a peace agreement has been signed would be considered legitimate targets by Moscow's forces. His comments coming hours after European leaders repledged their commitment to a potential peacekeeping force. Putin also dismissed the idea of peacekeeping forces in Ukraine after a final peace deal, saying no one should doubt that Moscow would comply with a treaty halting its 3.5-year full-scale invasion of its neighbor. And finally, the 50th edition of the Toronto International Film Festival kicked off last night. The event was launched in true Canadian style with a premiere of a new documentary about the late, great John Candy. His daughter, Jennifer Candy, was at the opening and told the media it was quite the experience for her family.
Going down memory lane as a family together, just everything that we experienced growing up and, seeing it again and putting it all together as one giant story to share with the world.
John Candy, I Like Me, is directed by Colin Hanks. This is the Canadian Press. In sports, it was opening day for the new NFL season, and the Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles launched their campaign with a heated 24-20 win over their rival Dallas Cowboys. Now, the wild game featured a weather delay, a late game-saving defensive stop from Philadelphia, and an ugly moment when star Eagles defender Jalen Carter spit on Cowboys quarterback Dak Prescott. Over to the MLB now, where the Toronto Blue Jays had the night off, but the New York Yankees managed an 8-4 win over the Houston Astros. New York now sitting 3 games back of the American League East leading Blue Jays. And the women's singles final is all set at the U.S. Open. American Amanda Anisimova will take on the world number 1 Aryna Sabalenka of Belarus in Saturday's title match. That's after beating Naomi Osaka in a grueling 3-set semifinal. Sabalenka dispatched Jessica Pegula of the U.S. in 3 sets as well earlier in the evening. From the Canadian Press, I'm Rob Westgate.
Thanks for listening. Don't forget to follow and subscribe. For more of today's top stories, visit thecanadianpressnews.ca.